Hello, my name is Peter Hitchner and I'd like to welcome you to our latest edition of our video newsletter, The Last 12 Months. January the 29th, 1986 was a momentous day, not only for Mercedes-Benz, but also for the automotive industry as a whole, because on this date, the automobile became 100 years old. On January the 29th, 1886, German engineer Carl Benz was issued with an official government patent for his petrol-engine three-wheel vehicle with a tiller, which he described as a motor car. It was spindly on its large bicycle-like wheels. The single-cylinder engine of 984cc produced less than 1 horsepower, 0.7 of a kilowatt at 400 RPM. You could almost out-jog its top speed of 15 kilometers an hour. But it was the start of something big. On January the 29th, the worldwide celebration started. Special birthday parties were held in all daughter companies of Daimler-Benz AG, including Mercedes-Benz Australia. To help celebrate in Australia, there have been a number of events, displays, promotions and activities which involved MBAU and its joint venture companies, dealers, car club members, customers, media and the general public. February of this year saw the release of the new W124 range of cars to the press. The day started at Canberra Airport, where the journalists were flown in from all around the country. From there it was off to the historic Beedervale in Braidwood to a presentation of the technical aspects of the new cars. Surrounded amidst the grandeur of this historic homestead, the range of W124 showed the reality of the old and the new. From Beedervale it was off on 120 kilometres of dirt road, then bitumen to Kangaroo Valley, where there was a light luncheon and a presentation of more aspects of the new W124 range. From there it was off to Sydney on the freeways. The day was a complete success, and of course it should be. The new 124 Series 230E 300E class represents a new benchmark in passenger car design and dynamics. The longest guided busway in the world was opened in April of this year by South Australian Premier Mr. John Bannon. Situated from Gilberton to Tea Tree Plaza in Adelaide suburbs, the total length of the track will be around 12 kilometres. The project was first mooted in 1980 and a project team was established in November of that year. It's come a long way since then. The buses used will be the state-of-the-art Mercedes-Benz buses and have an operating speed of 100 kilometres an hour, which makes Adelaide's O-Bahn system the fastest commuter bus system in the world. The buses are steered by a system of mechanical arms attached to their front axles. Horizontal guide wheels attached to the arms engage raised concrete edges on the track and steer the bus. Apart from the mechanical guidance arms, there's no essential difference between an O-Bahn and a conventional bus. O-Bahn buses can drive on normal roads, and in fact have been operating on suburban Adelaide routes for some time. The 1000th Australian-produced Army Unimog was handed over to Major General D.C.J. Dayton by MBAU Managing Director Mr. Bernd Slickham in a brief ceremony at Mulgrave earlier this year. It is one of 1,295 Unimogs in use or on order for the Army as part of a 5-year supply contract which commenced in October 1982 and is scheduled for completion by the 30th of June 1987. The Unimogs are produced at our Mulgrave assembly plant and have a local content exceeding 40%. However, this Australian content increases to 100% when you take into account the offset trade orders valued at $34 million. The Unimogs are currently in service with the Army in every Australian state and territory. At a press day held at a quarry in Langwarrin, Victoria recently, Mercedes-Benz displayed to journalists from the truck, tractor and car areas the most complete range of all-wheel drive commercial vehicles ever offered in Australia. We are the only manufacturer operating in the local market with a total range of these vehicles. In a hands-on day of driving, the journalists were exposed to the range that now covers a wide variety of capabilities, from personnel carrying to heavy trucks. It includes the G Wagon, the Unimog, LA911 and industrial tractors, as well as the three new releases, the 2628 AK, the 2636 AK and the 3850 AS. In all the range there are about 21 different models of all-wheel drive equipment. The purpose of the all-wheel drive vehicles is to complement existing fleets rather than to offer substitutes for current models. Mercedes-Benz now has many all-wheel drive vehicles in service. These include more than 1,000 Unimogs delivered to the Australian Army, 12 vehicles used by the National Safety Council at Morwell to haul fuel for helicopters used in rescue work, more than 200 LA911 vehicles used by Telecom throughout Australia to service power equipment in the field, electrical authorities in New South Wales County Councils, SEC Victoria and Western Australia, Electricity Trust of South Australia. In addition, the majority of forestry commissions and fire brigades throughout Australia use Mercedes-Benz all-wheel drive vehicles. Das Beste oder nicht. That is the dictum by which Mercedes-Benz operates. The best or nothing. That is the way Mercedes-Benz attacked the Melbourne, Brisbane and Sydney motor shows for 1986. By approaching it this way, it paid off handsomely. We achieved a hat trick by being awarded the first prize for the best stand at all three shows. The stands were designed and constructed by Acumen, a Melbourne-based design company in close conjunction with MBAU and DBAG. These awards were particularly rewarding as many man-hours went into the conceptualisation and design of the stands. It was a particularly important time for MBAU at the Melbourne Motor Show, as we were celebrating the 100 years of the automobile and releasing to the public the new W124 range of saloons. The Unimog surely is a versatile piece of machinery. New markets are establishing themselves all the time, none more so than the tour operator four-wheel drive bus market. At a press and customer function on the Sunshine Coast at Noosa in April of this year, Independent Tours of Noosa unveiled their latest acquisition, a Mercedes-Benz U1300L Unimog that has been converted to a four-wheel drive bus. Independent Tours operate a tour service from Noosa to Fraser Island and return, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They chose the Unimog for the 320-kilometre round trip because it can seat 18 people in comfort. It has a high power-to-weight ratio and low maintenance costs. The Unimog has no trouble coping with the sandy beaches or inland tracks. Independent Tours wanted a reliable and safe vehicle. That is why they chose a Mercedes-Benz Unimog. Mercedes-Benz Australia has decided to attack the power end of the Australian truck market. We've released a 3850 AS38 heavy-duty 6x6 tractor. This 500 horsepower model complements the current range of heavy-duty vehicles, which includes the 2636 and 2638. The 3850 is unique in Australia. It will be the only 6x6 vehicle of 500 horsepower capable of moving loads with a resultant GCM of up to 220,000 kilograms at a gradability of 15.1%. Already impressive demonstrations have been held in Perth, Melbourne and Tasmania. Here you can see the 3850 pulling 97 tonnes of logs, which gives a GCM of 135 tonnes. This was part of a demonstration to Bunnings in Bunbury, Western Australia. Another demonstration was held for Fleet Express to transport a transformer from Melbourne to the docks, then via a ship to Launceston Power Station. The GCM this time was 216 tonnes. Last time Fleet Express moved a transformer of this size to Pyman on the gravel section, they had to use two 400 horsepower 6x4 trucks and a D9 dozer. As an example of its versatility, the 3850 can be used for transporting indivisible loads such as heavy machinery, large containers, transformers, bridge sections and construction equipment. This surely is a truck with a lot of grunt. Mercedes-Benz's most versatile customer recently took delivery of its 300th and 301st vehicles. Telecom Australia, in a visit to Mulgrave recently, were handed the keys of its 300th vehicle, an MB Track 800, and its 301st vehicle, a 4x4 LA 911B truck. There to accept the vehicles from the Managing Director, Mr. Bernd Slickham, was the Telecom Managing Director, Mr. Mal Ward. Telecom Australia is our most versatile customer. They've purchased a range of trucks, tractors and Unimogs for a diversity of applications. One very important aspect of these telecom deliveries is the amount of Australian content that's involved. Of the 35% local content already contained in all locally assembled trucks, MBAU has made offset export agreements to purchase products from Australian suppliers to the order of 30% of the remaining 65% of the tender value of the completed vehicles. We're looking forward to a continuing relationship with Telecom. The Pope, who recently completed his Australian tour, travelled around in two converted Mercedes-Benz G Wagons, which are affectionately known as Popemobiles. The Popemobiles have been built to the exact requirements of the Vatican. The first one was built in 1984 and has been in constant use in Europe since then. Both Popemobiles were flown out especially for the tour. The Popemobiles are fitted with automatic transmissions, power steering, power disc brakes, puncture-proof tyres and are painted metallic white with gold trim. It allows the Pope to see and be seen by what was the largest amount of people ever to welcome a visitor to Australia. The Mercedes-Benz G Wagon range has now been expanded to include petrol engine models and a cabriolet variant. The range now consists of short and long wheelbase diesel engine 300 GD models, short and long wheelbase 230 GE models with a 2.3 litre fuel-injected petrol engine. A further new model is the 230 GE Cabriolet with a convertible roof. All the cross-country models can be ordered with either the 4-speed fully automatic transmission or a 5-speed manual gearbox. All the 1986 cross-country models incorporate a host of refinements, including central locking, an improved standard of trim, larger internal stowage compartments and a greater seat adjustment range for front seat occupants. This range is expected to create new interest in the G-Wagons, especially the petrol engine. Mercedes-Benz has taken the recently introduced mid-series W124 model to new practical limits with the introduction of the 230TE station wagon. The new 230TE in every aspect represents a second-generation approach to the versatile 5-door car T concept introduced by Mercedes-Benz for the first time in 1978. It combines the technical achievements of the new 230E saloon with numerous refinements of this concept to increase its appeal and versatility. The new Mercedes-Benz 230TE is better performing, more economical, more aerodynamic, roomier and more capable in its general road behaviour than its 230TE predecessor. It certainly is an exciting looking car and should open up new markets for Mercedes-Benz. As part of the 100 years celebration of the automobile, MBAU has brought out to Australia the Benz patent motor vehicle of 1886, which launched today's motor industry. The vehicle, which is a totally faithful reproduction of Carl Benz's single-cylinder prototype three-wheeler, was flown to Australia courtesy of Lufthansa Cargo. During its visit here, it took pride of place at the head of South Australia's biannual Bay to Birdwood Historic Vehicle Rally, which runs from Glenelg Beach to the Birdwood Mill in the Adelaide foothills. After the event, the three-wheeler was again in the spotlight at the Mercedes-Benz stand at the Sydney Motor Show. The vehicle attracted considerable interest from motoring enthusiasts, historians and students alike. It provided a visual yardstick by which the progress and the development of the automobile could be judged over the last 100 years. Five times World Motor Racing Champion Juan Manuel Fangio visited the 1986 Australian Grand Prix to drive the Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR racing sports car in October of this year. Fangio was brought to Australia as a guest of the South Australian government, and it was quite a thrill to see him behind the wheel of the former works car. The 300 SLR is a 3-litre, 8-cylinder racing sports car derived from the W196 for races in the 1955 Constructors' Cup. After the Grand Prix, Fangio paid a visit to the Mulgrave head office, where he spoke to the staff of MBAU and signed autographs. He was then persuaded to drive around the streets of Mulgrave. As in single-seater racing, Fangio and the 300 SLR were an outstanding team. Together they saw victory in the Eiffel race on the Nürburgring in Germany and in the Swedish Grand Prix that year. The 300 SLR also made a brief appearance at the Sydney Motor Show before travelling to Adelaide. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of The Last 12 Months. See you next time.